Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. Today is Thursday, February 24th, episode number 56. There's a big news story out there that's been circling the news, not just local, but I think, nationwide even. It's gotten to the pretty big networks I've been seeing that this news story that's just been sweeping the nation. And it just caught fire a couple days ago. No, it's not about, anything important or anything significant. I mean, I'm not going to cover anything too serious on this podcast. But this, to me, this story right here is actually very concerning and could potentially have very big repercussions depending on what happens. And the people involved in this story, I think that the pressure is on, not just from the community that this is being taken place in, but the entire country. And that is the situation with the lovable, big, giant bear named Hank the Tank. Now, Hank the Tank, if you don't know, is a black bear living the American dream. He is out there eating nothing but leftover pizzas and leftover food that have been left not technically outside. He's more of a B&E guy, which is, not great, but he's not harming anybody. He's just eating food that people don't eat in this small little community right next to Lake Tahoe, California. And he's a 500-pound black bear who has gotten so big and so not afraid of human beings that he just tends to stroll down the community looking for food and just absolutely enjoying himself and loving his life to the fullest. Now, I have no problem with this. I truly, truly don't. I've seen videos, I've seen photos, I've seen everything about Hank the Tank, and that he's just living life. And he's 500 pounds. He's pretty big for a black bear. Usually they're about maybe, 300 pounds is a good weight for a black bear. This guy, this man, this behemoth here, this wanted bear, for some reason, is doing nothing but living his life to the fullest, literally, and getting full off of leftover pizzas and hamburgers and hot dogs and chips and chicken and all the food that we love to eat. And he's just living his life to the fullest. And there's people and the residents of that county or that community that don't like him there. They think that it's a bad thing, yet they give him the name Hank the Tank. Now, for this to be solved, I would suggest that you do not, I repeat, do not slaughter the beast. Slaughter that beautiful creature. Do not do that. That is not the answer, because we, as a society, as a community, have discovered our Harambe too, known as Hank the Tank. We will fight for this bear. We will protest for this bear's life. We will absolutely, and without a doubt, come to this bear's aid. I said Bade's air. Not wanting any blood to be shed on this beautiful creature who has bulked up, you could say, or at least fattened up for the winter. Did a little bit of research on the bear. He has been broken into at least over 24 homes, I believe, with 100 and some calls to the police that he's been a disturbance and property damage and whatnot, stealing leftover foods and really not showing any fear for the humans at all. The people have been reported to be shooting paintballs at him and throwing bean bags at him and, whistling and banging shit and trying to get Hank to go away. But Hank doesn't want to go away. Hank just wants one thing: your food, your leftover food. And where I guess you could say that would be a major problem, that would be major. The fact that he hasn't hurt anybody, the fact that he hasn't, killed anybody, the fact that he has done virtually nothing to anybody there, shows that this probably is going to not stop until the bear either just maybe gets bored of your food or just, dies of a heart attack, which I hope that never, never, ever happens. Hank the Tank is a national treasure. I've seen so many photos and memes of him already, and there's even a video of like people are literally like looking out the street and videotaping a bear walking by on the street, saying like, "Oh, there's Hank the Tank right there. Oh, it's Hank." It's like, I mean, listen, if you wanted anything to happen to Hank the Tank, it's giving him that name isn't going to make it any easier for anybody to kill him or to quote unquote euthanize him. Like it's a terrible thing to happen. Terrible thing. It makes me sick to my stomach that could actually be a solution to this quote-unquote problem. Now, I understand, yes, the people of the homes who got ransacked is, that's not good. It's pretty terrible. But how about we do this? Here's an idea. We can make it easier for Hank to get his food. We put the food out on the back porch or in the front yard, or maybe just carry around a spare piece of pizza when you're going on for a hike or a walk or something. That way, if you see Hank, like, "What's up, dude?" Just give him a little snack right there. That way, he's got nothing to do. He's not going to bother you. Just give him some food. That way, he likes you even more. That way, he has no reason for him to attack you. I mean, if I could break down bear culture and bear I guess instincts, they usually, I believe, I'm no bear scientist, but I believe they usually attack if they're afraid or they're scared or like territorial things. Like you normally see like videos of hear reports of people being attacked by a bear because, they're too close to their bear cubs. That way, the mama bear gets defensive and, attacks and stuff like that. If they sense danger to their bear cubs. But Hank is not a mother. He's a lad. He's got no babies. He's got no responsibilities. He's goes out whenever he wants. Rolls the streets whenever he pleases to get whatever he wants to eat. And he's just one of the dudes. Hank is just one of the dudes, and this suppression of dude culture in a bear deeply sickens me. Like he should be able to walk free and not be worried about getting murdered in cold blood, in my opinion. And I hope that the U.S. government actually steps in and stops the California or Lake Tahoe Wildlife Preservation Agency, whatever the hell they are, that's trying to take my guy out, and really just like sit there and think, put yourself in Hank's shoes. If Hank is living the life, literally like the American dream life of a bear, and, not being I would think twice before you actually make any moves of trying to, murder the bear in cold blood. I really wouldn't want that. I feel like that would just be escalate, and that could maybe get down to the animal community, and they could potentially start a war with us, that community in Lake Tahoe. There are reports though that Hank, since he does not, since he's been eating junk food for the past 7 months, I think 7 or 6 months, that he's lost the ability to hunt and to fend for himself and find food on his own. So that's not a good thing. But if he was a bear, for a bear, it's a bad thing. It's not good. But how about this? Why don't we just maybe make Hank a residency of that community? Why don't we give him a little house and he could live there? And there's reports that he skipped hibernation because he became addicted to leftover food. He's already one of us. Just give him a house. Make it easier for him to not, make the voyage down from the mountain or down from the forest, to go eat some, dinner or lunch or breakfast. Why do we make it easier for him? Maybe if we give him a house, he wouldn't break in because, we could give him food and deliver it to his house. We could DoorDash food, leftover food to Hank's house, and we can make him happier that way. That way, he's never really on the run as much. There's not as many altercations or run-ins with Hank because, if not everybody's going to be, happy to see Hank, no matter what they tell you, no matter, how long they've known Hank for. He doesn't look like you and me. He's going to get some bad looks on the streets. People might, get scared if they see him. They might throw something or they might agitate him. He's a friendly giant, from what we've seen and from what the reports have been saying, no killings committed by Hank. But still, it's wrong to assume that he's going to hunt down and kill an innocent person. He's not. He's just trying to find some food. He's hungry. I don't know if you can tell, but he's hungry. And they've come into contact with sanctuaries, and I don't know if they've contacted any zoos in California, but like nobody can take him. I think that this is a little bit of that might be fat shaming Hank, to be honest with you. I mean, they've said that they have no room. It's like, well, what if he didn't weigh 500 pounds? Would you have room then? I mean, do you have a scale that you're putting like at the entrance of the sanctuary? Like you must weigh this many pounds if you're a black bear to come in. I just feel like my guy is being mistreated, and it's actually disgusting. We need to stick up for Hank. For God's sakes, the California flag has a bear on it. The state flag, the state animal is a bear. That right? We got to start treating bears with more respect and more love and compassion for these people and for these animals and their lives. I mean, why can't we just do what they do in Africa or Asia, where they preserve these animals, like elephant conservation or giraffe conservation or whatever, lion conservation? Why can't we do that with Hank? He's a soul. He's a living thing. He's a being. He's just trying to have fun, trying to have a meal, a decent meal. Now, you may say that pepperoni leftover pizza is not a decent meal for a bear. I beg to differ. Look at how much weight he has attained by that. Now, if he did go into hibernation, he would have been in hibernation for the next 7 winters. With that much fat that he had on, that much thickness. So he's the thick boy, the thick bear named Hank. Hank the Tank. I just feel like people like to, cut to the chase with the problem. It's like, wait. You gotta see all these options out. What are we trying to get around here? Like, what's our end game? Do we want to take him to the woods, transport him to super far away so he'll never do this again? Well, he might just actually die there because he doesn't know how to hunt. He doesn't know how to fish. He doesn't know how to get food on his own. So we might need to put Hank in an intervention, or like a meeting for addiction, because he might have addiction to fast food and leftovers and human food. Well, we need to get that out of him. We need to, maybe, I don't know, maybe we can build a shelter for his, for animals in his situation. Maybe we could do, more things. Maybe we could see if there's a drug problem within the animal community with, if this is not the first, like, other squirrels that can't shake the human food addiction. This really might be a bigger problem than we think. I mean, what if we have like a moose who can't stop drinking soda, or a gopher that can't stop eating sunflower seeds from the bag? They won't eat natural nuts anymore. They just want the saltiness of the sunflower seeds or the salty peanuts that us humans just eat for leisure. But they've developed an addiction. We need to have serious conversation so we could eventually get these animals back into society and give them another chance and get them back in the woods so that way they can be thriving in their own communities. And that way they could eventually, the squirrel can go get a job at the pine tree 2 doors down from the cabin on the east. That way he could have a job with his little buddy named Squirrely, and that way they can collect nuts for their community and their colony or whatever, and that way that he can be contributing to that society in his own tree. That way he's accepted back into society, and that way he is loved again. Maybe we just need to do that for all these animals. Hank is just the biggest example. No pun intended. No pun intended. Sorry about that, Hank. I'm on your side. But maybe we should start to help these animals out. And that we should truly put, help, try to get them back on their feet. Hank is in trouble. We all like to see Hank, eat pizza, dig for garbage, and just, chow down, mow down, and get really plump and fat, because that's his end goal as an animal, is just to keep eating. But I think that we're at the point now where we could make a decision. I think that Hank might have a problem. That all this eating is going to lead to something more than just having a full belly. I mean, if I were to eat nothing but pizza every day, I would probably be the size of Hank, maybe even bigger, and I would probably keel over and die of a heart attack. So think about that. Think about me doing that. That happened to me, but to a cute, cuddly thing like Hank the Tank. This can't go unseen. The U.S. government. This needs to be front and center. We need to help these animals get back into society and contribute to their own animal society in the woods. It's tragic. He's now becoming a part of the little community outside of Lake Tahoe. This has to be addressed in the next election. Truly, it does. The bears and the wildlife need to be put into, that have been kicked out of their own society. We got to get them back. And with this addiction to human food, I understand it could be very challenging to break that. I mean, Hank is going to go from eating pizza and chicken wings and, sandwiches all day, and now he's going to go back to eating what? Roots and berries and nuts and crap like that? Yeah, I would hate it too. I would absolutely hate that. But to better society, and for us to be better humans, and to see that we care and take responsibility of what's been happening, we need to get Hank back on his paws, on his feet, and get him back into society with the wildlife that he belongs with. The other bears out there that are, they don't have this addiction that Hank has to human food, and that can thrive in the meadows and the woods and climb up trees. I don't think that Hank can climb a tree anymore. I'll be honest with you. Seeing how big he is, as much as I love the guy, don't get me wrong, I don't think he can climb a tree. Truly, I don't think that he can climb a tree at all. So we need to get him back on his feet. We need to get him to, the help that he deserves, so that way he can get off the streets and get back into the woods. Get him a home in a cave. He won't be caveless anymore, because I don't think he has a home right now. I think he's just out on the street, just eating his life away. So you also gave him the name Hank the Tank. You cannot kill a bear named Hank the Tank. It'll cause madness, mass hysteria. There will be riots in the street if you kill Hank the Tank. Mark my words. It's probably not by, anybody that you think, but there could be people out. Look at what happened with Harambe. There was outcry when Harambe was murdered. Now, that was back in 2016? This is now 2022. There's even more cameras, more phones out there. So it's just going to be even more difficult to cover this up to the authorities that want to murder Hank the Tank without, in cold blood. It's disgusting. I hope he gets the help that he needs, though, because I do want to see Hank the Tank in a thriving forest, climbing up trees again. That would be amazing to see. That would brighten up my day, to see Hank the Tank actually in bear society, with other bears wrestling and playing and eating bugs and eating roots and eating berries and nuts, and just maybe starting a family. Hank could start a family. Hank could be a father. Maybe his past family was maybe he didn't have a family. Maybe he was born in a garbage can. Maybe he was, we don't know the story of Hank the Tank. I would love to have him on the podcast. I think he'd be a great interview, and get him to, really tell me about his life and tell me, what his side of the story is and what the media are fabricating out there about Hank. It all seems very positive, but, there's going to be, other pieces out there that might, shed some bad light on Hank. That might get him for something, but, who knows? Only time will tell. I want everybody to know this. I am pro Hank the Tank. I am pro also getting him the help that he needs, because this is just the gateway to other animals that have the problem with human food. That it grasps you, it ruins your life, it becomes a dependent, and it's got to be stopped. Really does. Don't get me wrong. Human food is good, but I've been camping. I've seen animals that you could tell just have so much, have had, they linger around like a little restaurant or a dining area, and people just toss them food, and it's like, holy shit. It says not to feed them. You can't feed them human food. And then you see like a squirrel that's like the size of a football, like 2 footballs in like, width. You're like, holy shit. He is no longer afraid of anybody here. He just wants your food. It's like, Jesus Christ. So you got to be careful out there. Don't feed the wildlife, because it could lead down down a path that they probably can't come back unless we give them the help that they need. Very, very important. That's enough about Hank the Tank. Oh, seriousness. I hope I hope they don't kill him. Being serious now, just don't kill him. He probably needs to lose some weight to get back into the real world, but it's just, I don't know how that's going to work out. But moving on, a little bit of entertainment news. I've been, watching some shows recently. Book of Boba Fett just finished, and I've been watching this other show on HBO Max. I think you might have all heard it. It's called Peacemaker. A spin-off to the Suicide Squad movie, directed by James Gunn back in 2021. Came out in, I think it was like maybe around February, maybe March or April. I can't remember when it came out, but or maybe it was the summer. I can't remember. But I think might have been in August. Great movie. Loved it so much. I gave it a 9.2 out of 10. Thought it was a really entertaining movie. Thought it was fun. And then they introduced the character of Peacemaker, being played by none other than John Cena, who, to be honest with you, I never really seen in movies. To be honest, I never saw the Marine when I was a kid. I saw him once recently in Daddy's Home 2, but he was barely in it for maybe 5 minutes in the entire movie. So I didn't really get to see him act. But I saw him in the Suicide Squad. I'm like, oh my God, this guy kills in this role as Peacemaker, a little bit of an older hero, totally not a millennial, not a Gen Z type of person, kind of like old school guy, kind of a little like a dry humor. The problems in the real world, like phones and all that technology, of he's just not, equipped to be, hip or witty, or he's just kind of outdated himself. He's not used to how the world works nowadays. And seeing him going back and forth with Ratcatcher 2 in that movie was so much fun. I was like, and then they announced that he was going to get his own show. I'm like, oh, dude, sign me up, because this guy plays that character so well. One of my favorite parts of that entire movie. So he gets his own show. It finishes, it concludes. And I got to be honest with you, I wasn't expecting a whole lot out of the show, because I was just like, well, what can they really do here? Are they going to expand the DC Suicide Squad universe more? Are they going to expand it to the, we're going to see Superman, we're going to see Batman? What's going to happen? Is this going to be his own thing? And for the most part, for the entire thing, it's mainly his own thing. You get a little bit more of other characters that come back from the Suicide Squad, like John Economos, Amelia Harcourt, Amanda Waller is in it too, and a couple new ones. Like a Judo Master is a character in there. You get Vigilante, and you get a couple new ones, new villains, a new bad guy. You get to see Peacemaker's dad and his past and all that, and his sidekick Eagly, which is a bald eagle, which is kind of funny. You see all that happen. By the way, this is going to be a spoiler review, so if you haven't clicked onto Peacemaker, or if you don't care, follow along. Otherwise, probably should skip ahead. So Peacemaker as a show. Now, the whole thing is written, directed by James Gunn, for the most part. Written by, yes. Directed by, I think he directs maybe 6 out of the 9 episodes, so it's pretty close to all episodes. I believe it's 9. I think it might be 8. I think he directs maybe the majority of the 8 episodes. I think he directs the majority of them. But it's all written by him. All written by him. And that was interesting, because I don't think James Gunn has ever done a... Excuse me. I don't think he's ever done TV. So that was interesting to see. No, it was 8 episodes. He's never done TV. He's mainly, from what I've seen, he's done a lot of movies like Of course, I know him from just Guardians and Suicide Squad, but like I think might be his first time doing TV. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but one of the bigger shows, coming out today is by James Gunn. And I gotta say, like, the entire show as a whole is such a funny ride. Like, there's something about James Gunn's comedy that you don't really see that much in or in Guardians because it's more tamed. It's a lot more suppressed because it's PG-13. But this show, the Suicide Squad, was all rated R, so you can do balls to the wall, do whatever you want. A lot of funny jokes, a lot of funny stunts, a lot of funny scenes, funny characters too. I mean, like John Cena's Peacemaker really just like he's so like, not clumsy, but he's like so just out of like the times, and it's just so funny to see him talk to people in a way that you shouldn't be talking to certain people, making a joke where you probably shouldn't be making that type of joke. And then is the addition to Vigilante, played by Freddie Stroma, really just kind of steals the show though. Like, not in a bad way either to Peacemaker. Like, he's a very good sidekick to Peacemaker in the show, and his character and his charisma and his just his everything about him is just so funny to watch. And them together, Peacemaker and Vigilante, is just a lot of fun to watch. And it just makes you kind of smile. Like, I didn't expect myself to smile at their friendship as much as I did, but it was just so funny and fun to watch happen. And they have their mission. They got to take out this bad guy who's not the bad guy, but this alien race is called the Butterflies. They infect humans, and they nestle in the brain, and they're actually like butterflies, or like alien butterflies, and they take over people's minds and shit. And you can't tell that they're butterflies because they look just like us, but they just eat this yellow goop that they have, like this little cow, big cow underneath. It's not an actual cow, but they call it a cow that supplies them of that yellow goop. And it makes them stronger. It makes them, like, I think 4 times stronger than an actual person. So they're kind of like a big threat. But they just, their whole mission was to try to guide humanity into a brighter day. That way, they don't end up like the way their society ended up, was just like fighting and conflict and all that. That's like the major point. But there's also like this other little side bar with him and his dad. How his dad never really liked him and blamed him for a lot of things, like the death of his brother and stuff like that. And there's a little bit of an angle with that too. There's also kind of like a small angle where one of their sidekicks, Adebayo, played who is in the show. She's the daughter of Amanda Waller, and she becomes like one of my favorite characters just because she's so laid back and just so cool, and just a regular person, I guess, like a regular person teaming up with Peacemaker and Hardcore and Economos. They're just like a big bag of misfits doing an important mission, trying to save the world. And that's just kind of like what James Gunn is known for, I think. Like, he does that whole thing, that whole dynamic so well, and so like fun to watch, and actually like caring about the characters, that it makes you feel like you don't need Superman, you don't need Batman, you don't need any of the actual Justice League. You got these guys who you like to root for because they're not super, they're not powerful, they're not like super like well known either. Like, the character Peacemaker is not like I wouldn't say that he's like a pretty well known DC character. He's like pretty low tiered. But James Gunn, his ability to make these characters so likable and so like I guess like relatable, is just like his like his natural God-given gift. Like, he does it so well. I mean, I didn't know who Star-Lord was, or the guys I didn't care about anybody in the Suicide Squad before I even saw the movie. And then you watch the movie and you're like, oh my god, these characters are fucking the best. Like, why can't Superman or Batman be this likable or this cool? You know what I'm saying? Same with Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, who knew who Star-Lord was, or Drax, or Gamora, or Rocket Raccoon, or Groot? I didn't know before I saw the movies. And that's where I think where some people like who do read the comics and do know all that stuff, they might be like, I hated it, or they didn't like it. That's all right. That's fine. You can, if you have a big beef with the show, you can express the beef. You can do whatever you want. But I enjoyed it, and I didn't know anything about it. I thought it was super fun, super cool. And it didn't. The thing is, like, there was a lot of stakes in the show, a lot of things that needed it to be solved and needed to be, that you wouldn't want to see in a second season because it just felt like it was so contained already. That they were actually able to complete everything and not leave anything really like hanging loose or not, too much of a cliffhanger. At least at the end of the season, but like through the end of the episode, during the episodes, like there was like, yeah, I was kind of like, are they gonna be like cliffhangery episodes, or like is it gonna be like just like a little mission and then a mission and then a mission? No, like James Gunn actually like did like very good cliffhanger episodes. Like there was a lot of times like every episode was a cliffhanger, and then like I think like episode 6 might have been like one of the best cliffhangers in any show like that I've seen in a while. Like it's just, it was so done so well. And that doesn't that doesn't happen unless you build up the character. And like every character in this show is built up so well, it's so likable and so fun to watch that you just can't help but smile the entire time, because it's fun to watch that. It's fun when you get a person who's in charge like James Gunn, who actually cares about the characters, that you can see it on the screen. Like you can see like this guy cared so much about this little detail or this character here or this side character, or even like Vigilante or even Peacemaker, that he was willing to like spend so much time with that character and not break away and not diverge too much and get onto another topic or another plot, that you actually felt that, oh, like this guy is now a household name. Like Peacemaker could be like considered like now like a household show that people might want to tune in even more even next season, just because of how popular and how relatable and likable that these characters were. So in the terms of reviewing the season, reviewing the season 1, I didn't think that it would be as good as it was, considering what happens to some characters, in their fates and all that, but and who was going to be introduced and who was going to be the bad guys and the good guys, and how it was even going to go to in the first place, and expanding more on the, I mean, I guess you can say the DCEU, but it's more of like, you do see Aquaman and Flash, and you get silhouettes of Wonder Woman and Superman, but like it feels like they're totally in another universe, I feel like, because the agency of Amanda Waller, whatever she works for, the background, like that, it's like they get like the prisoners who have life sentences and they got to do missions to take years off of that life sentence to get free or whatever. It's like that thing, like it's like all that from the Suicide Squad movie, but that's being even more expanded. Who knows if they're going to get any more characters to join their team, or what happens, if you'll see more of a Amanda Waller or any other more people in that that organization, or how that intertwines more with the Justice League, if it even does. Like I don't know. Like there's a part where I think that Adebayo is talking to her mom, Amanda Waller, and saying, just call in the Justice League. Like it's like do they know each other? Like, is it like not secretive anymore? Like, I don't know. It's just like, it's interesting to see like if they do want to make it, more expansive, and they want to keep adding like the Justice League in there, like Superman and Wonder Woman and all that. Like, how is that going to work? I don't know, but the possibilities are pretty much endless. Like I was really happy with the show. Didn't think that it was going to be as good as it was. Also very, deserving. I think well deserved is that this show had a killer soundtrack. Every show or every episode had great music in it, great end credits, maybe the best opening credit sequence ever for any show. Just that if you don't like the opening credits of the show, you might not like the show. Like that's going to be a big, telltale if you're going to end up liking the show or not. What do you think about these opening credits? They make you mad? Do you not like them? Or do you like them? And if you do, you're going to like the show. Guarantee it. So yeah, that's the review on Peacemaker. Overall, great show in my opinion. I'm actually going to go pretty high here because of how much I enjoyed every episode and every character. And, even every plot point and everything in it. Honestly, I was not expecting to like it this much. Peacemaker is now for me. I would actually recommend it to people to watch Peacemaker because of how funny and good it is. So I'm gonna go pretty high actually. I'm gonna give Peacemaker as a show. Wow, this is gonna be pretty tough. I'm gonna go a 9.3. So just above Suicide Squad. Well, that's a movie too. That's not as, I can't really compare the ratings on that. That's a movie and this is a show. But truly, I mean, like it's a satisfying show. It's a very good show. It's fun it's a fun watch through. Like I kind of want to watch it again already. Like it's it's one of the shows that has that rewatchability. Like Mandalorian season 1 and 2 for me have such good rewatchability. And this one, I think, really does too. Like, I actually want to watch it like right now. Like, it's a really, really good show. Highly recommend it. If you don't know, like, who is Peacemaker? Give it a shot. You might end up actually loving it by the end of the run, hopefully. Moving on though, but staying in the realm of entertainment, there's another review coming up. This is going to be a two for one review episode. Uncharted. I just saw Uncharted. I was not expecting to see this movie, I'll be honest with you. But my sister wanted to go see it for her birthday, just to have fun a day, go see a movie. I was like, all right, I'll go check it out. I haven't played any of the games. I haven't cared for any of the games. I've heard good things about them. I've heard that I would particularly like them. I would love them and stuff like that. That I should play them. That they're right up my alley. Have I played them? No, I haven't played it and haven't made an effort to do it. I haven't tried to do it, whatever. They're on PlayStation. I'm an Xbox guy, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I haven't made an effort or wanted to play them, but I've heard they're good, and people who play them rave about them. One of the best games some of the best games that they've ever played. That's cool. I'm glad that's the thing. The fact that it's a story game just shows that still there's legs for story games that don't stop making them because they still make, good memories and all that. So I'm pro story game. At the end of the day, I am pro Uncharted game. Like if that is making you happy, that's a story game, that's great because they'll keep making them because they get such a big popularity. But in terms of the movie, let's talk about the movie now. Everybody was kind of, little meh on the casting. I think when we first heard the news, like they're going for a younger Nathan Drake and a younger Sully in the cast of Tom Holland as Nathan Drake and as, Mark Wahlberg as Sully, which, is not really that young. He's like 56, I believe. So calling him young is a little weird. I mean, yeah, he does not have gray hair, but that's just because he dyes his hair. But he is kind of an older guy. I mean, he's almost 60, so how old do you want? I know in the game he's like very, very gray and very wrinkly. That's just because Mark Wahlberg is an actor and he can, make him pay and, do all the treatments and creams and lotions to make him look fucking good. So what do you want? I mean, I'll look it up right now. Mark Wahlberg's age. I'll get it right on the dot. Because I want to be right. I don't want to be incorrect on this. He is, let's see, Mark Wahlberg. There's no number for this. Are you kidding me? All right. 50. It says here 50. Wikipedia says 50. I'm going to check IMDb real quick because I don't trust that one bit, actually. Mark Wahlberg. Let's see. Yep, 50 years old. So he's not young. You can't say that he's young, but he's not that old either. I mean, he is 50. So that's middle-aged, right? That's old, right? I want to see how old is Sully in the games. How old is he in the games? I want to see that. That complaint can probably be, a bit washed up. Who cares? Back to the review, though. Back to the review. And this will be non-spoiler, so don't worry about that. Peacemaker it's been airing for, since January, so I'm like, I have to talk about it. Come on. But Uncharted, back to Uncharted. So everybody's saying like, yeah, do you like Indiana Jones? I'm like, yeah. Well, you'll like Uncharted, the game. Yeah, I just never got around playing it. But I'm like, I would like that in a movie, though. That could be sick for a movie. Let's check it out. So as a movie, it wastes no time of you getting, into the universe of the Uncharted. Nathan Drake, his brother, that relationship. I think that's pretty much shown pretty well in the game as well. The introduction of Sully and the treasure hunting and getting money and getting paid. The bad guy played by Antonio Banderas, and the whole gist of it. I think that the movie in general is okay. I think that it has a couple moments in the actual movie where it doesn't really shine all that well in terms of the acting department. Like, the acting in some scenes is kind of wooden and kind of wonky. But whenever you get Mark Wahlberg and whenever you get Tom Holland in the same scene together, it's beautiful. It's just, that's what you go to see is their relationship, because I think I buy it. Like, I buy their relationship, like, because they're such good actors. And I had actually a lot of fun watching them on screen. Like, it was just fun to see that Tom Holland, Mark Wahlberg dynamic, like, treasure hunting and going on an adventure and being like the mentor to Nathan Drake, Sully being the older guy and him being around that and him knowing stuff that Nathan doesn't know. I thought it was cool to see. I'll be honest with you, and I thought that the fighting also in the movie is also done very, very well, and you can tell like they've some of the stunts and some of the the jumping scenes and him getting thrown around and getting punched and him flying is definitely from the game. Like, that's what the for me the choreography is definitely like being inspired by the game, because not having played it but seeing like parts of it and cutscenes of him fighting like that, that's totally like from the game, like him swinging on things and him jumping over from platform to platform, him using his guns and him just like wailing on people and him getting punched. I was like, this is definitely like being inspired by the game. Like, and like I'm thinking like, all right, this is cool. I enjoy this quite a bit. The side characters though, like there's a character that they meet along the way, to help them on their adventure, and to me, she seemed kind of like a little bit of a brake check, if I would say. She didn't really add too much to the adventure. I mean, she added a couple things, and a few like little details about the story and about how to get to where they wanted to go. But the character herself, I just didn't really care for her, because I think that she gets outshined a lot by Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg, like in the script. Like, so it's like there's not a whole lot of there isn't a whole lot of time for her to develop her character that much. And she kind of suffered from that. So like she's kind of just there for most of the time, and she doesn't really get a whole lot of good lines to say, not a whole lot of a lot of things to do. So she kind of like goes by the wayside, and it's just like, all right, just focus on Tom and Mark. Just focus on these two, because really that's why you're there. I mean, the adventure itself is pretty generic, I would say, but I think that also was a criticism when the game came out. It's kind of like an Indiana Jones, but like a more of a modern day Indiana Jones, which is like, that's fine. You can do that. A lot of the things I've heard in the games is very, inspired by Indiana Jones and all that. So it's like, I mean, what can you expect? It's just, Uncharted is like an Indiana Jones video game, because we've never really had a good one of those. But yeah, it's entertaining. I mean, there's definitely like a lot of cool shots, a lot of cool vistas, cool locations that they go to, cool mystery, cool puzzles that they have to solve. I'm pretty sure it's going to be substantially less than in the video game, because obviously video game. And but just, I thought it was okay. Again, the story is really, it's pretty generic. It's not like all that appealing. It's not that super interesting. The characters besides Nathan and Sully are not very good. The villain is actually kind of weak, I'll be honest with you. Antonio Banderas' character is not all that threatening and all that menacing as I think that he could be. It definitely felt like he was not fully committed to that role, which was kind of which is kind of disappointing, because he is a pretty good actor. And then there's another character that's like a evil henchman of the big bad guy, who's Also not done all that well either. I mean, not very convincing, really a backstory to the things that she ends up doing, in my opinion. So it's like, it's the villain, the generic story, it's all right. Mark Wahlberg, though, and Tom Holland, the highlight of the movie right there. Highlight of the movie. The effects are pretty good. There's some parts where it looks like Nathan Drake is definitely doing like a big stunt. That's like, you've seen it in the trailer when he's like hanging out the side at the back of the plane and climbing on the crates and all that. There's a lot of times where you see him and you know that's not Tom Holland. It's like, all right, this is kind of throwing me out of it for a little bit. Let's get back to some close-ups where we can know that it's actually him. But for the most part, it's done pretty well. There's a lot of good practical things in there too, like the fighting and all that, and like the throwing, like, using objects around to fight people and people being thrown through doors and stuff like that. The fight choreography, again, looked tip-top shape. Pretty damn good, I gotta say. But if you're going to get something more than a generic Indiana Jones, generic National Treasure type of movie, it's probably going to be like, that was the same thing, kind of. A little bit different, a little bit more of a different angle, a little bit more emphasis on these two characters than I thought that there would be. But, it's still okay. It's a good movie. It's a pretty good movie. It's decent. It's okay. It's not like I'm going to definitely, like, go out to see again. I mean, there definitely could be a better story in the future, I would say, because I mean, this movie just made a ton of money at the box office. I think Sony's already kind of greenlit, like, this is going to be our new big franchise. It's going to be Uncharted. So I mean, like, Sony owns PlayStation. That's a PlayStation game. I mean, why wouldn't they not continue to make Uncharted movies? So that's going to be in the future. It does leave off on a good note. I think that there's like a mid-credit scene where it's a few years into the future. You see Tom and Mark, and they kind of look, more, I guess you would say, up to the game speed, like more like in their prime, I guess you could say, because like people were saying like, well, we're gonna get fucking kid Nathan Drake and like Mark Wahlberg Sully doesn't even have a mustache. Like, what's up with that? Fuck that. Well, you get it in this cutscene. All right, he has a mustache. Spoiler alert: he has a mustache, and Tom Holland looks a little bit more seasoned in the treasure hunting game. So there you go. And hasn't been greenlit yet, but it made so much money at the box office. I can't imagine that they don't make another one. At least another, like, one more. But yeah, decent movie, okay movie. I ain't gonna give it too high of a grade. I think that my grading was pretty fair when I tweeted it, but yeah, I give Uncharted a 6.9 out of 10. I thought it was okay. It's not bad. It's not like terrible. Again, nothing that you haven't seen before. Definitely, like, everything that you've seen in it. There's a couple cool twists in it that were like, oh, that's cool, or that's different. But at the end of the day, it's like the same thing. This is what I have problem with these modern Indiana Jones type movies. There's a lot of technology in them. Even in National Treasure, like, there's cell phones, tracking, cameras, and all that, and like, radios and cell phones and apps and drones and stuff like that, and cars and like tanks and shit. Not that there's no tanks in this, but like helicopters. Like, I liked it better when it was like, Indiana Jones is in the 30s and the 40s. Like, when there's none of that, so you got to be extra careful. You don't got to worry about like a camera spying on you or a drone in the air. And like, in the first movie, Raiders of the Lost Ark, like, he's got to like, watch out for all the booby traps and all that. There's like a couple of that in here, but it's like, once you put like an artifact in like a modern day building, like being hidden by a wall that's in like a modern day building, I kind of lose a little bit of interest, and I kind of like, oh, that's bullshit. Like, that probably would never happen. Like, oh, this secret door to open to an ancient temple was just by the other side, on the other side of this Taco Bell restaurant. Like, no, I don't buy that at all. That's just stupid. So I think that those movies like that are best done, a little bit more back in the day. Like, not like in the 1700s, but like 1930s, 1940s, where it's like more, remote locations where, you're in like an actual temple, like in the South America. I would like that more than like, like a modern city. I just kind of like be like, it's kind of like a spy movie. Like there's parts where like this is like Mission Impossible or like Jason Bourne or James Bond. I don't feel like this is like an adventure quest movie like National Treasure or even Indiana Jones. Even like National Treasure, that kind of gets a little too modern in some parts as well. It's like whatever. And there's some cool moments like with like like in National Treasure when they get the lemon juice on the Declaration of Independence, and there's like a secret text being hidden. It's like there's moments like that, and it's like, oh yeah, it's like this is totally like National Treasure. But it's fun though. It's all fun. It's a good popcorn movie. It is. I'll admit that. Would I go back to see it again? Probably not, but I'm not going to tell you not to go see it. If you're in the mood for a good popcorn adventure movie where you can just watch Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland be badasses and do cool things and, hunt for treasure, go check it out. It'll be a good... If you want something deeper, if you're like, oh, how can this be not like Indiana Jones? How can this not be like National Treasure? Don't go see it. You will not enjoy it. And I don't know if you'll enjoy it if you were a fan of the game either. Like, for me, it's like an introduction to that entire world of Uncharted. And I enjoyed the world and like the people in the world and, those characters. But like, I don't think that a game lover is going to enjoy that because I just feel like it's very generic and maybe didn't go as deep as the games did. So like, they're probably going to be furious if they go and watch that. But that just goes back to the gotta see the differences between the adaptation and then the actual source. The game is going to be different obviously than the movie. It's just going to happen. Just got to learn how to deal with that. Moving on though, a little staying in the realm of entertainment, but not movies. I'm talking about video games now. The newest Call of Duty is coming out this year. Now, it's reported that it's going to be a sequel to Modern Warfare 2019, which I can't wait for. Can't wait. But they pretty much have confirmed now that the next one after that will not be released in 2023, but in 2024, which means that they will be taking a year off of a Call of Duty release. Like, we will not be getting a Call of Duty in 2023. We will be still playing whatever title is going to be coming out at the end of this year. Which to me is insane because we haven't had that since 2005 where they last took a break. Every year after that, there's been a Call of Duty game that's come out every single year. And that's been their business model for like the last over 15 years. That's been their business model. And for them to actually take a break and not develop another one and not, essentially like once you buy this one, you get it for a year and then maybe even less because then the hype for the next one comes in like maybe like June or July of the next year. And then you're already gearing up for the next one. It's like, I love how that we're going to actually get a Call of Duty game for at least an entire year and a half where we don't have to worry about the next one or we don't have to think about the next one because we'll be too busy enjoying the one that we have right now. I love that because after Modern Warfare 2019 came out, I was like, dude, they do not need to bring in Black Ops Cold War. They do not need to bring in that game because this game has so much more potential. They brought it in, and yeah, it was called, technically a new game. It didn't feel like a new game. It didn't look like a new game. Like Modern Warfare 2019 looked way better. And then even got even worse when they put out Vanguard. It's like, this is a new Call of Duty game. Like, this looks even worse than Black Ops. So it seems to me that they're going to be taking more time with the product and actually really giving it more time to breathe and actually live out a cycle of that game. And no better way to do it than with the new one that's coming out that we all hope and pray that it is a sequel to Modern Warfare 2019. I mean, for us to go back to that modern time with those, even that campaign, that was stellar campaign with that, that awesome feel of the gunplay, the multiplayer, the Warzone update, which is going to be a whole new thing as well. What a better way to start that business model of every other year, hopefully, than with the new Modern Warfare game. That would be awesome. I would want that so much. I've been wanting that since Black Ops got announced. I'm like, do not kill this game. Do not kill it yet. It is so good. People are playing it still. You cannot kill it yet. They did, and it's never been good since. We can all agree on that. I think we can all agree that Black Ops Cold War and Vanguard just were not as good as Modern Warfare 2019. They just weren't. I mean, people were saying before Black Ops came out, even when it came out, that, oh yeah, this is better. This is so much better. And then they didn't even last like 5 months playing that multiplayer, playing that zombies. They dipped off and went back to Modern Warfare because it was just a better game. So you can't just slap a label on it saying it's a new Call of Duty when it's not really a new Call of Duty. Like, there's no innovation, there's no progression, there's no influence, really. There's nothing there that says to me that this is quote unquote new. It's just a new title. It's like, I think gamers are just sick of that because it's like, we get a new era every fucking year. They can't just stick with one. Like, whoa, what if I like the modern era? You know, I think collectively Call of Duty players liked the modern era more than World War II, even Cold War. It's like, why did you go back to these times? Like, we were fine with modern. I think all that backlash and all that, criticism, they actually were like, oh, maybe we should stop doing that because I don't think anybody likes that anymore. So they fixed that. It's hopefully it stays that way. I don't know if that's like Activision's own, choice, or was that Microsoft's? I have no idea. I just don't want it to go away. I'm good with this. I'm fine with that. I'm actually excited now because now we get to live at least a full 2 years of that game being developed, adding new things, taking things out, making things better. It's just going to be an actual, we can finally see a Call of Duty game that's going to get the right development time, hopefully, and the right attention for us to give back feedback so they can do things in time. That way we don't have to worry about another game on the horizon, like months away. We get an entire new game. It's like, okay, what the fuck is the point then? Make a longer lasting product. That's what I want to see from a Call of Duty game. Make it feel like it's, got the legs to be a longer lasting game. That way it's just not a yearly thing and just out. Like, there's just so many games that they released like back in the day that you don't even care about anymore. Like, after a year, it's just over. The new one's up. It's like making a phone every year, a new phone every year. Like, do they need to make a new phone every single year? Like, these past phones, like 11, 12, 13, like, you can argue, like, maybe not. I don't know. It's like very similar. Is it, do we need to have a new phone every damn year? Like, it's like, do we need a new Call of Duty every damn year? No, we don't. So hopefully this is the right direction that they're going to. And last but not least, just a little bit of a rant here on the topic of sports, in particular, the NBA All-Star Weekend, which I didn't mind. I watched the entire All-Star Saturday, didn't see much of the All-Star game. I watched a little bit of I actually didn't really see much of Rising Stars either, but I heard, I watched highlights about it. Mainly, I just, what I really love about the All-Star Weekend is All-Star Saturday night. If you don't know, that's when they have the skills challenge for the point guards, the 3-point challenge for the shooting guards, and everybody wants to participate, and the dunk contest for literally anybody in the league that wants to participate in. And for the past few years, I think that the 3-point contest has been the best contest by far. I would say, like, maybe for the past 5 or 6 years, the 3-point contest has been the better contest of the entire All-Star Weekend by far. Now, that didn't used to be that way. It was not that way before. It used to be the dunk contest used to be the best thing that entire weekend, because you would get players like back in the day, like Jordan dunking, Kobe dunked, Dwight Howard would dunk, Blake Griffin would dunk. I mean, they got the All-Stars back then just dunking, and back then they weren't that, that well known. but they became stars from that. Some of them became stars from that. I remember Dwight Howard was already a star before that, but that dunk contest just kind of elevated his stardom even more. But getting back to this year's, particularly the dunk contest. I mean, I didn't know a single player in that dunk contest, which is, to be fair, I haven't known a single one of those dunk contest participants for the past 5 years either. When you first see them, you don't know them. You have no idea who they are. They're usually rookies, second-year players, younger guys, maybe not starters, maybe on the bench players that enjoy doing unique dunks. And I'm just sitting there like, all right, bro, show me what you got. Show me what you can do. Literally, guys, nobody could do a dunk within the first take. I mean, there's maybe a couple, but even when they did it, it wasn't like a extravagant dunk. It was like a cool dunk. And that's also part of, like, I think every possible dunk has already been done. Like, that an NBA player could do in a high-pressure situation in front of an entire arena full of people and judges right there, like legends like Dominique Wilkins, Dr. J, Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal. Like, I mean, like, there's just so much pressure on these dudes to do good dunks. And I think that the problem isn't them doing dunks because, yes, they need people in the NBA All-Star Weekend to do dunks. That's a time slot on the All-Star Weekend is the dunk contest. And it's fun to see when you actually get people who can do good dunks in the contest. The problem is there are so many other players out there that we as fans of the NBA want to see in the dunk contest that never, ever, ever do it. LeBron James has never done it. How many times have we said that, dude, LeBron should do it? And I think even one year he said that he would do it, and he didn't even do it. And, you know, why don't we get, like, Blake Griffin back? Why doesn't Karl Anthony Towns do it? What about, I don't know if Andrew Wiggins has ever done it, but a bunch of other people that are stars nowadays that never, ever do it. And it's like, okay, like, the NBA is a very, like, is a stardom-driven league, if that makes any sense. Like, there's 5 players on the court at one time for each team. You get so much screen time. You get so much time that it's you or your teammates. The cameraman doesn't have to go far to search for you. It's a smaller court, smaller area of play, and you can easily show off in any game you want. You see, like, LeBron do amazing dunks, Kobe back in the day do amazing dunks, and all that. And you're like, hey, I want to see this guy in the dunk contest. Blake Griffin, I want to see that guy again. Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine, I want to see these guys in dunk contests. Zion Williamson, I want to see that guy in a dunk contest, even though he's not playing right now. But it's like, we expect the dudes who make these gigantic, awesome dunks in games to do it, but they never do. And we're forced to see other dudes who are much lesser known and sometimes don't get the reps in practice and don't really have all the hops and don't, just aren't as talented as like a LeBron James or a Zion Williamson. And not to say that their dunks are bad. Some of them are good, but most of them are just like also like they take forever to do them. They're not as successful. They're kind of weak. And I don't know what it is, but it's just like those dudes are not like superstars, really. They usually never are. Like, LeBron could probably do a dunk within one take, maybe two, because he's had that experience. He got the eyes on him all the time. And I just think that it's like we are being robbed by those dudes who don't want to do it, and we're stuck with watching what we just saw this past weekend. An atrocity of a dunk contest. I mean, you get people like CJ McCollum doing the three-point contest. He's supposed to do that. He's CJ McCollum. Last year, we got Stephen Curry doing it. He's supposed to. He's Stephen Curry, and he's done it years before. I mean, I don't understand why the high-flying dunkers don't even attempt it. Like, do we need to entice them with more money, give them more of a financial incentive to do it? I just think that maybe we should, because, look, as a league, as an entertainment business, you need to show the best product out there on All-Star Weekend. You've got that already with 3-point contest. Skills challenge needs some work. I think in the past it's been better. Dunk contest in the past 5-6 years just has not been what it should be. We need the high-flying players, the big, strong guys that can dunk with force, with ease. The creativity part, I mean, I think that just because we have it every year too, and they try new things, and there's only so many dunks you can do that it just gets repetitive. I don't know, maybe you switch up the format. Maybe they just got to do this many dunks in so little time. I just feel like nowadays it's just they got to get a new format for that. Maybe that will help it too. Maybe that's why the Stars don't do it, because the format is trash. Maybe if we get a better format, maybe if we get better, not judges, but a better way to do it, maybe we'll then get the better talent like LeBron and KD and Kyrie, Russell Westbrook. That guy can dunk as well. He's never done it either. It's dude, come on. I mean, Giannis Antetokounmpo has never done the dunk contest. He would be amazing at it. Amazing at it. I mean, just so many players out there that just don't do it, that we know they should do it and would be amazing if they did, never do it. So it's kind of I don't blame the league per se. I blame those players because they're so selfish and they don't want to do the dunk contest, that now we're stuck watching these guys do it. And it's just, it's very unexciting. And it's not just me. Everybody was mad about it. Have you seen Shaq's reaction to the dunk contest? I mean, Jesus Christ, he did not shy away from being displeased at it. It was just a bad showing of quality. It was the worst dunk contest I have ever seen. And I've seen a lot of bad ones. I've seen some good ones. I won't forget Blake Griffin or Dwight Howard or even Zach LaVine. I will not forget that. I will not forget it, because those were fun, entertaining, energetic. It really got the building, loud and pumping. During the dunk contest, man, that building, that arena in Cleveland was so quiet. People were getting agitated. I think people were booing or getting, come on, dude, just, can you at least dunk the ball? There was parts where, I was seeing, dude, can this guy even dunk the ball? I legit, I was what are we watching here? Because this is just not good quality. Everybody doing the dunk, on the calls, they got to rev it up and make it exciting, but it's it was hard for them to even do that. It was oh, man. People were saying, bro, that dunk got that score? What? Why did he give him a 9? That was a 6. I mean, there was just so much in that dunk contest where, something has got to change, because this is such a bad showing, and it can't have it. Just can't have it. Just got to change. I don't know how you do it. Maybe you do it a team thing. Maybe you say okay, in your contract, you got to do at least one, because we'll pay you more money. But the past few, like I said, the past 5 or 6, maybe even more than that, just been pretty mediocre. That's kind of how you sum it up, the dunk contest. Just really mediocre, and just not an attention grabber as it once was. And I wanted to get back to that. 3-point contest will never die, I think. The game is so revolved around the 3-point shot now, it's going to be here forever. And it's so easy and so simple. You don't got to do any flashy moves and all that. You don't got to do anything crazy, too crazy. Just got to make baskets. So that's going to be here to stay. The dunk contest, that might be a little bit different. I don't see it, unless if they don't change it within the next year. I mean, after this year, they have to change it. They have to change it, because everybody was talking about that. ESPN, Stephen A. Smith was talking about it. I mean, he was just absolutely disgusted by it. Shaquille O'Neal was. Charles Barkley. Everybody was just. Dwayne Wade, Kenny the Jet Smith. Everybody was just sickened by it. So it's got to change. It can't continue this way. There's just no way that it could. Anyways, everybody, that's going to do it for me today, for this episode, for this week. Thank you again for watching. Thank you for listening. Remember, you can find this podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and YouTube at Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. And you can like the video. You can share the video. You could like and subscribe and favorite and star review and rate and review and do all that stuff. Really helps out the podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And I will see you guys back next week.